Alright guys, welcome to Aussie Wristwatch, and I've got a little fun one for you today, particularly for the fellow Aussies out there, because I'm going to look at one of my favourite little brands here in Australia, Panzera, who make affordable watches and are now making Swiss-made watches as well. So we're going to actually review their Aquamarine 40, which I'm wearing, which I don't own. I actually spirited this away from my wife who bought the watch, completely unrelated to anything. Yeah, so she saw the watches when I reviewed the Time Master 42, and I also reviewed the dive watch they've got, and I have both of those. They gave me the Time Master 42, which I love, which is over there on my watch stand, and I bought the Dive 45. And in that little journey, my wife got on their website and was hunting around, and she saw this new release, pre-release I should say, Swiss-made Aquamarine 40. And so she pre-ordered it and didn't tell me, and then like last month I think was like, oh, I think my new watch should be coming soon. And I'm like, what? Which new watch? And she's like, oh, I ordered the Panzera Aquamarine 40. I pre-ordered it like a few months ago, and it came, and it's a great watch. Like, it's so nice, and so we've had it now in the household a few weeks at least, maybe 4, and yeah, she wears it a lot. I've worn it a few times. As you know, 40 is on the smaller side for me, but I mean, it fits perfectly for sure, and it's really elegant. And you know, if you watch this channel, that I love white dials or light colored dials, of which I don't, well, that's not true, because I've got this watch. I've got my Dan Hendry, actually 1962, but it's a Panda, so it's got a bit of black in there still, but it's the closest thing I've got to a white dial. And so it kind of resonates with me. So we're going to talk about this watch a little bit today. Now, in true Jess/Aussie wristwatch style, I'm going to go on a slight learning journey, so bear with me. But yeah, let's get into it. Yeah, so I mean, as I said, it's the new Panzera Swiss-made watch, and they've got a series of watches. And if you've seen the channel before, you'll understand that Panzera is two guys, one hailing from Switzerland, another one hailing from Australia, and they loved watches. They were into watch distribution. They started their own company. I'm going to get the date wrong because I didn't do a script on history, because I've done the history video before with the Time Master 42. But let's call it more than 10 years ago now, they started this brand called Panzera. And it started off as not homage watches, but they really did design watches based on the watches they liked, one of which was the Big Pilot and the Fluger watch. And so they started this brand, and over time it's become quite popular, which I think is fantastic. And more recently, so in the last 12 months, they've added some Swiss-made watches to their collection. I might just take my glasses off, because previously they've been using Japanese movements, which are, I mean, honestly, we know that the Japanese make great watches. They make, and these guys make quartz watches, and they make automatic watches, of which I've got 2 automatics. So I don't have a quartz of theirs in the collection, but I probably will one day, because I'm not anti-quartz. But this is one of their first forays into Swiss-made movements. They're actually using a Landeron movement, which I didn't know anything about. So I'm going to go into a bit more detail with that right now, just for the benefit probably more so of me. But it's a Swiss-made movement, and it was first established in 1873. It's been used in brands such as Hoya, Edox or EDOX, Glycine, and others. And over the years, it's produced more than 3.5 million watch movements, which is pretty. Actually experienced a resurgence. They've had local Swiss investment in a new release of new automatic and hand-wound movements, and the Landeron Cal L24 automatic movement, which is the movement featured in this watch, is fully compatible with the ETA 2824-2 movement, which means it's got really good reliability, and it's got a simplicity of maintenance, so it makes it pretty popular for enthusiasts to pick. Now, the ETA movement we talked about, the 2824-2, is one of the most widely used automatic movements in the watch industry. And it's manufactured by ETA SA, and that's a Swiss company, and it's a subsidiary of the Watch Group, and it's been in production since the early 1980s. Due to its reliability and accuracy and affordability, the ETA 2824-2 movement has become a popular choice among watch brands. Some of the most popular watches that use that movement include Hamilton Cartier Field, Tissot Viso-Date, the Sign 556, the Oris Divers 65, and the Steinhardt Ocean 1. So the Landeron movement is compatible, they say, with this ETA movement we've been talking about. And it's a relatively new movement. They've just been designing this since they were kind of reinvested with Swiss money not that long ago in terms of a manufacturer. And presently, this Landeron movement exists or is used in only a few watches, which are the Panzera Aquamarine collection. So that includes the Swiss Marine 40 and the Aquamarine Swiss 44, which the names of the watches, in case you haven't cottoned onto it, is the size. So Aquamarine 40 millimeter, the 44 millimeter, just like the Time Master was 42 millimeter, and the Pro Dial 45 millimeter. I like it when they keep it simple like that. Like people like me can just kind of keep up. You know, I don't really care that much about movements, even though I've just spoken about it for a few minutes. But the reality is, I don't look at what's under the car. I just take it at face value that if it's a Porsche or a BMW, it's got a pretty good motor in there, you know, or any other car for that matter that runs. Yeah, so I have a totally different view when it comes to watches and movements. Now that might change over time or over years if I get to understand them better and appreciate them better. But at the end of the day, the watch is still, it's aesthetics for me. And if it works and it runs, great. That's what it's meant to do. I can appreciate the ingenuity in a movement, but yeah, I don't need to fuss over it like some people. And I totally get why they do, but that's just not me. The watch itself. So it actually comes in 3 dials from memory. So it comes in matte black, bright white, which I'm wearing and I'll show you, and midnight blue, which they're all very different. And let's do this, shall we? I'll do some videos for you, but I've got the white dial and it's got these lines that kind of look like waves or the ocean that are etched into it that look fantastic, and it just makes this watch kind of sing a little bit and give it a little bit of flair, so to speak. Let's talk specifications on this watch, just for fun. So it's a mechanical movement, as we've talked about, the Landeron, 25 jewel, date function, hacking seconds, 41-hour power reserve. It's 40 millimeters, it's 12.20 millimeter thick, and it's got surgical grade stainless steel. It's got a screw down case back, a screw down crown, and an exhibition display back. This particular dial comes in the white, but it also, as I said, it also comes in the black and the blue. It has luminous primary hands, luminous hour markers. It's 200 meters water resistant, so it's just there for a dive watch. And the glass is a flat sapphire crystal with an anti-reflective coating. It comes, this watch, in various strap configurations. So as I've said in the past with this brand, Panzera, one thing they're really great at, and they have an easy release strap mechanism on the back here, which I'll show you in the video because I love those. Every watch should have those, please. But this is on the rubber strap today, which like their other straps is really nice, like really soft and supple, and it fits. This one actually fits really well. But it also comes in a bracelet, or you can get a black rubber strap with this. You can get it comes in any kind of variation, yellow, all sorts of colors. The other strap we do have, which is genuine Italian leather, is the leather strap, which also kind of makes this watch go up another level in terms of dressing it up and classiness. And again, because it's got the easy release straps, it's super easy to change this watch and just makes it a real joy to have in the collection, to be honest with you. I'm kind of jealous my wife got this watch, by the way, but don't tell her Retail, I think they're, from memory, of course I should have written this down, but I've forgotten as usual. Yeah, so they have they're actually, sticker price is $1,795, but they have a special, as I've talked about before. If you join their club, you get about 40% off, so it's $897. So that is what it's currently on the website. So $897 for a Swiss-made watch. Say what you will about the movement, I don't care. But for a Swiss-made watch that's got decent heft to it, stylistically, it looks fantastic. You know, it's been running exceptionally well, given that we've had it 3 or 4 weeks now. The collective we, my wife's been wearing it quite a bit in that time. And it's a classy little watch. So value for money, I think, is pretty good on this watch, as with all the other Panzeras. Now, of course, the Japanese movement watches, the non-Swiss made, they're cheaper. And they're still, in my view, very good quality for what they are as a watch. So it's a judgment call, I guess, on whether you want something Swiss made or not. But for an automatic Swiss made watch, and let's face it, I don't think, and I'm happy for someone to get in the comments about this, but micro brand wise, I don't think anyone makes their own movement from scratch. So they're all somewhere off the shelf. So, you know, from that point of view, if you think about the Formexes I talked about, which are Swiss made in the sense that they're a Swiss company as well. This is an Aussie company, but that gets more points for me, of course. And just remember those prices I quoted were in Aussie dollars. So 897 Australian. So much cheaper for everyone else watching this who's not in Australia. But anyway, sorry, I digress. The Formex watches that I reviewed not that long ago, which I loved, and you all knew I love them. And, you know, they're different in the sense that the Essence models had the spring sort of case back and all that was pretty cool. But they were quite expensive. So from memory now, they were what, sitting at about 3,000 Australian or just under. So compare those with this and the price point. I still think you're getting an exceptionally good valued watch here. And an attractive watch. And that was the thing about the Essence watches and the Formex in general, right? They all looked really cool. They had a lot of different options with straps. This, again, Panzera is the same. They have the same sort of model and ethos in terms of their design aesthetic. They let you build, to an extent, your own watch in that regard. So you pick your strap, you do that when you order. The straps to buy are like $80 Australian, you know, so they really don't cost that much in the grand scheme of things. It certainly don't cost what a Horus strap costs. Now I know how cool they are, but still, they're fucking expensive. So, I mean, you know, I don't think I'm going to fall out of love with this brand anytime soon. And if you're sick of me talking about it, well, you can skip this video. But yeah, I think they've done a good job. Like, this is, if it's not their first one, it's one of their first outings with Swiss made watches and kind of in that little, so I think they can only get better from here. If I'm nitpicking, and in particular, this is really my wife's kind of pet peeve with it, which I can understand and maybe agree with slightly, but I'm not 100% on her team with this, is if you look at the styling, and I'll put it up with some video so you can see, but the bezel is it's polished and it's brushed, and so it kind of has this two-tone effect to it, and she really dislikes that. She also dislikes the sharp edging on the bezel. I kind of like that. I think it gives it a little bit of distinctive flair. Yeah, but I don't know, I'm not sure. I mean, it doesn't have a rotating bezel, which is interesting. So from a dive watch point of view, it's probably not, it's not technically a dive watch, I guess, in the sense that it's waterproof. So you could take it yachting and boating, but you shouldn't go diving in it, I think, is the point I'm trying to make, which is probably right. It's called an Aquamarine. It's actually not called the Aquamarine Dive. So that's me just, as usual, getting something wrong. But yeah, check this watch out if you can. I know a lot of people in the comments have actually said to me they've been eyeing off Panzeras, and so these reviews have kind of been helping them maybe make up their mind a little bit. So, you know, take it on board with that. I think, you know, I stand by it. I like these watches. You know, I'd happily keep adding them to the collection, but, you know, I don't have an endless bank account. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. If you've got a Panzera, tell us and let us know what you guys think about it. If you're thinking of getting one, then, you know, happy to answer your questions. I've answered a few with other people. But overall, I think it's a solid addition to their range, and good on you guys. Good job. Until next time, like, subscribe, do all those things that the algorithm tells you you have to do. But really, just do it if you like me. If you stayed this long, you must have liked something. Appreciate you listening, and until next time, have an awesome week.